What's going on, everybody? Mark Farzy here with the Farzy Show, presented by Steven Singer of Steven Singer Jewelers. That's how you start a show, ladies and gentlemen. What's going on? Phillies have their biggest series of the season since they faced the Mets in their biggest series of the season. Phillies now have their biggest series of the season starting today. Good news for them. They got Aaron Nola on the mound, but that hasn't been the problem. The Phillies' offense has been the problem. We'll see if they can come around today. Eagles are in Cleveland to play the Browns on Sunday at 1 o'clock. They began practice with them yesterday. By all accounts, Jalen Hurts had a phenomenal day. We got Jonathan Gannon addressing the media yesterday. And Jonathan Gannon got into one of the things I've been talking about a lot, and I feel like a broken record because I've brought it up a lot on this show, and that's how you're going to use Hasson Reddick. And some people a little nervous about the way Jonathan Gannon might use the guy, might have him play a little bit out of his comfort zone. I don't think that's what you do with Hasson Reddick. I think you let him do things that he's great at and things that he knows he's great at. Jonathan Gannon was asked this question yesterday about how he's going to use Hasson Reddick. We'll let you hear his answer because I find it to be extremely encouraging. And while the Eagles are out there in Cleveland, as fate would have it, Deshaun Watson's final verdict finally comes down from the NFL, from the CBA, from the union. We finally know what's happening with Deshaun Watson. 11-game suspension, $5 million fine, and counseling. Natalie Egenolf, my good friend, will be joining us a little bit later in the show to talk about her reaction to the Deshaun Watson news, as well as this Phillies-Mets series. So we'll get into all that and more today on the Farzy Show. Let's start it off with the Eagles practice. As I mentioned, by all accounts, Jalen Hurts had himself a wonderful day of practice. I was looking at our friend Jimmy Kempski, his up and down stock value, basically, of Jalen Hurts throughout training camp to this point. And it looks like by far the positive notes of Jalen Hurts are outweighing the even notes, where he really didn't encourage a lot of reaction from how he played, which I'll take as a positive. And then on top of that, he only had about 3 practices at this point, 3 training camp sessions that were down in stock. So you're seeing the steps being taken in the right direction from Jalen Hurts. The preseason game, obviously a huge deal when it came to the projections made by a lot of the media members in terms of just the guy that might be a little bit different this year from the work that he's put in the offseason that we've talked about at length on this show. But Jalen Hurts, by all accounts, yesterday had one of his better practices. Him and A.J. Brown were connecting. A.J. Brown had a great diving catch against the Browns. So it looked like it was an exciting day out there in Ohio for the Philadelphia Eagles. The people that I know are like me, and they want to see this team have a great defense. And I know we always get swept up in offensive numbers and stats, and that's the way we should be, especially in this fantasy football era that we're all in and have been in for quite some time. But I want the Philadelphia Eagles to have a dominant offense, and defense. And I have said before that I think this defense, with the pieces that they've added to Jonathan Gannon's scheme, for lack of a better term, can be one of the best defenses in the NFL. And if you're going to be rushing the passer, if you're actually going to be dialing up blitzes, then eventually you know what you're going to do? You're going to do something the Eagles weren't able to do, which is force turnovers and change the outcome of these games. So Hasson Reddick gets acquired by the Eagles. He talks about how he likes to play fast. Hasson Reddick talks about how he likes to get after the quarterback, how he likes to play downhill football. And every Eagles fan is on the edge of their seat thinking to themselves, oh, man, what can this defense be like if they're anchored by Hasson Reddick? Oh, and Brandon Graham's coming back and Josh Sweat's coming into his own. Then they go out there in the draft and they take Nakobe Dean in the 3rd round, and in the 1st round, they take none other than Jordan Davis. Oh, man, this defense is going to be good. You already got Darius Slay. You've added James Bradbury to this. TJ Edwards, a lot of people don't want to give him credit. Hell of a year last year as well. What can this Eagles team do with the new pieces on the defensive side of the football? Hasson Reddick has got most people excited. Well, my concern is, are they going to have him play out of that comfort zone? Are they going to ask him to do things that don't make him that guy that can get you 12 sacks in a season, for instance? Are they going to ask him to be a guy to drop back in coverage more, which would be ridiculous? So yesterday, right before the practice, Jonathan Gannon is addressing the media for his press conference, and he was asked about Hasson Reddick. You really haven't had players like this before. How'd you recruit? How did you learn about? And what's the best possible way to put Hasson Reddick to work in your defense? And here's what Jonathan Gannon had to say about learning about his new linebacker.
The greatest research tool, in my opinion, when we acquired him was his brain. So, we had a good talk. We sat down with him and said, hey, what are you comfortable with? What are you not? What spots do you want to be in? What don't you? Here's how we see you fitting into the scheme. Here's our vision for you of how we're going to deploy you and how we're going to use you. Are you comfortable with that? Are you not? And we're still figuring that out, all those overhang players, that's always a continuous, evaluation of, hey, this is why we're doing certain things. This is what this guy's really good at. Let's put him in those spots a little bit more. But honestly, Hasson is so smart. What he says is like, that's a really good point. You know what I mean? And just because I want to do something, if he doesn't want to do it, we're not going to do it.
Last line there, probably the most important. If he doesn't want to do something, we're not going to do it. Great. The other is, I assume that is the I don't know, the gates of brilliance. I don't know. Opening up for Jonathan Gannon. Let me listen to Hasson Reddick. Let me learn a little bit from him about what I can do defensively. Not just with Hasson Reddick, but the rest of this defense. What can I do down the line with a guy like Nakobe Dean? What can I do down the line with TJ Edwards? What can I do with this, really, with my entire defense that I wasn't doing last year? We're gonna isolate that. We're gonna use that later in the season. Hey, Jonathan Gannon, you were playing against Daniel Jones, a guy you could force into mistakes, and last year you didn't. Maybe blitz him. That'll be a constant drop throughout the upcoming Eagles season. We're gonna have some fun with that. That much I guarantee you. So Eagles will continue practice again today. They kick off on Sunday at 1 in Cleveland for preseason game number 2. I would still be surprised if the starters played. To keep it in football, Deshaun Watson's news. It's finally being laid to rest as far as what it means when he comes back. Or excuse me, what it means for him to be suspended, punished by the NFL. I know I'm in the minority here. I actually think the NFL did a decent job throughout this whole process. And I know a lot of people jumped on the NFL originally when they talked about a 6-game suspension. And they said, how do you do this? Well, this is what they collectively bargained. This is what the players' union fought for. This is what the NFL agreed to. They had an arbiter come in. The arbiter is the one that I feel messed it up. And I give the NFL credit for saying, you know what? The process we chose to do this did not work. We're going to go ahead and we're going to appeal and go for the 11-game suspension. We're going to go for a $5 million fine. And that's what we're going to push for. Because 6 games and counseling just isn't enough for Deshaun Watson and this legal case. So the NFL said, we messed up by saying this is the way we're going to do it. So instead of just accepting it and saying, well, this is what we said we're going to do, so we're going to stick with it, they said, no. Something is still wrong. And I give the NFL credit for that. And I don't give the NFL credit for a lot of things, but I give them credit for this. They pushed for a bigger punishment. They got a bigger punishment. I know there's a lot of people that compare this to Calvin Ridley. I don't. I think, and I was hoping that Deshaun Watson would get more punishment than he got. This is unfortunately the way the NFL and the union decided to do things as the case went on. For the NFL to push to the idea of just going to an 11-game suspension as opposed to the rest of the season, or as opposed to the 6-game suspension originally, the NFL got that right. I just don't understand how an NFL team, like the Cleveland Browns, for instance, and I saw a lot of people applauding the Eagles for not pursuing Deshaun Watson and acquiring him. I don't know how much credit is given to the Eagles for that and how much is given to Deshaun Watson for not wanting to come to Philadelphia. But I know a lot of people were out there saying, well, think how he dodged a bullet with this one. I don't know how an NFL team employs Deshaun Watson. I just think there is something tragically wrong with this young man. I don't think he has a good head on his shoulders. I don't know what more you need than 20-plus women accusing you of sexual assault to know this guy's a bit of a bad seed. So for me, I go back to cases with Ben Roethlisberger. I go back to cases with Ray Rice. I go back to cases a little bit with Ezekiel Elliott as well. I just don't get it. When Roger Goodell took over as commissioner of the NFL, the big thing he always talked about was the integrity of the shield. And if you want to really stick up for your league and make your league seem like it's holier than thou, and you want to talk about morality, I mean, that's a tough pedestal to stand on. But that's what Roger Goodell stood on. In this instance, I think the NFL got as close to getting it right as they ever have with any other thing they've ever done. But I always thought playing in the NFL was a privilege, not a right. And if you really want to set a precedent to players, don't allow them to play. If you really want to set a precedent to players about how it's all about the integrity of the shield and not just the potential outcome of a game that could be compromised, like Calvin Ridley, and that's what they're worried about ultimately with gambling. Yes, everyone can take the advertising money in the NFL from gambling, but when a player takes advertising money, that makes you think, oh, well, wait, hold on. Is he involved? Is he dropping a pass in the end zone because it could get him more money in the gambling world? Like, that's what the NFL is ultimately afraid of. But if the NFL also wants to put people out there that are supposed to be encouraging fans to be good people, well, I think the NFL should have a little bit more power than what they have been able to wield even into the Deshaun Watson case. And my whole thing back in the day with Ben Roethlisberger was if you want to be all about morality and integrity of the shield, throw people out of the league. At least 1-year suspensions. At least 1-year suspensions. You want to be in this league? You want to represent the NFL? In this case, you want to represent the Houston Texans or the Cleveland Browns? Well, then make sure you got a good head on your shoulders while you're going through the process. To me, I mean, even Joe Mixon, when he was drafted out of college, my thought was, you're going to be talking about this guy who punched a woman in the face on camera? Do you have to draft him? Or should you just give him a year to himself to, I don't know, maybe improve upon himself as a human? That might be a good idea, too. The NFL, following the Ezekiel Elliott case, stepped away from investigating. They said, this isn't for us. We're a football business, essentially. We're not a domestic violence business. They got a little bit more involved again with Deshaun Watson, and I think they had to. And when they realized that their process, along with with what was agreed upon with the union and the CBA, when they got on that same page and they said, this is the way we're going to do it, we're going to bring an arbiter in, and they're going to tell us right now what we're going to do with Deshaun Watson, and they recognized it and said, this isn't enough, and then they forced the issue by going to 11 games and $5 million. I thought that was the best they possibly could have done. I think it's the best they possibly could have done, considering the circumstances that they already agreed to with the union, and I'm shocked that this actually came to fruition so quickly. Deshaun Watson said yesterday he's ready to move on from it, and I think we all are ready to move on from it as well. Natalie Egenolf will join us a little bit later on. Will let us know a little bit later on what she thinks about the whole situation. Phillies and Mets start a 4-game series today in South Philadelphia. It's the biggest of the season. And just as I know a lot of people want to see this, Chris Bassett will be back on the mound today for the New York Mets. Last time he faced the Phillies, it, of course, did not work out so well for the Phillies. Despite only going 5 innings in that game, they were 5 scoreless, only allowing 4 hits. And it was a 6-0 New York Mets victory. Today, Kyle Schwarber should be back in the lineup for the Phillies in the leadoff spot, most likely. I know that Rob Thompson has been very optimistic about what that bat will be to that lineup and what it means to hopefully getting some more consistent offense back with the Phillies. Another news, also, Bryce Harper will be back out there making things happen for the Phillies in the not-too-distant future, so I know we can all cross our fingers for that. But realistically speaking, and let me know in the comments, what are you expecting from this series? I'm not expecting the Phillies to get swept by any means, especially with that doubleheader on Saturday. I'm not expecting the Phillies to win 1 game in this series. I think the Phillies will give us something to start cheering for in terms of what they can do against a team like the Mets. If Rob Thompson, as we played for you yesterday, wants to talk about how a team can have another team's number throughout a season, but then that team that's been getting beat throughout the entire year can go to the playoffs and possibly beat that team and beat these upper echelon teams. Let it start right now with the New York Mets. Give me hope that you can split with this series today. Aaron Nola, go out there and deal today at Citizens Bank Park. Make it happen for the Phillies. And let the Bats, please let the Bats be there to back up Aaron Nola in the performance we should see today. If Rob Thompson wants to talk about how you can always bounce back against those upper echelon teams, let it start today. Because the Phillies, boy, oh boy. I know they didn't get swept in a 3-game series against the Mets. I know they won the game last Friday, and that's great. That's great. But go out there and just give us some hope for the rest of this series that you can at least split with the National League's top team. Give us that inspiration in the final month and a half of the season to let us know that you can compete with these upper echelon teams as the season goes on and the playoffs get closer and closer. And a wild card standings, Padres lost last night. Phillies are a full game up in the second wild card spot in the National League. Braves occupying the first spot. Then it's the Phillies. Then it's the Padres. That's what it looks like right now. I'm going to go ahead and say that the Phillies sweep this series. Excuse me. Oh, that's way too optimistic. Phillies split this series with the Mets. And Noah Syndergaard getting a start tomorrow in the doubleheader. I'm sure he loves to see his old teammate and his old teammates and that old uniform that he used to wear. And yesterday he was talking about what it means to him to go out there and face the New York Mets. And he's all optimistic about taking them on. So I look forward to Saturday with the Phillies and the Mets series, playing 2 games on that day. Let me tell you about the great people at Steven Singer and Steven Singer Jewelers. One place, one price, the perfect price every single day. Online at IHateStevenSinger.com. That's IHateStevenSinger.com. The other corner of 8th and Walnut. If you're looking for that big jewelry purchase, do what I do. Go to Steven Singer Jewelers. My wedding bands, my wife's engagement ring, all at Steven Singer Jewelers. My friends and family, I send them to Steven Singer all the time. The push present, very popular thing nowadays. Go to Steven Singer Jewelers, the other corner of 8th and Walnut, right there on Jewelers Row. Steven likes to guarantee the perfect price each and every day. The perfect price. So when you walk in there, you don't have to worry about negotiating or haggling or anything like that. You just know you're going to get taken care of with the perfect price. Other jewelers like to mark things way up just to mark it down a couple of bucks, make it feel like you won something. Not at Steven Singer. Steven Singer Jewelers, the perfect price each and every day. Without further ado, let's jump on the Rothman Orthopedics guest line, talk to our friend Natalie Egenolf about the Eagles, Deshaun Watson, and what we could be seeing in this Phillies-Mets series as well. An illustrious return. Illustrious return to the Farzy show.
Wow.
Illustrious, yeah. I'm not waiting. I don't just throw top shelf adjectives at just anybody.
That's like an SAT word.
I wait for my dear friends like yourself, Natalie Egenolf, joining us. What's up, Natalie?
Hi, Mark. Thank you for having me on this beautiful, actually, it's truly a beautiful sunny day here in Philadelphia. I mean, this is like the perfect weather. I walked outside today and I was like, wow. After all the heat, it's so welcomed, right? It's crisp, the sky is blue, it's beautiful.
Now,
can you tell I like moderate temperatures and that like I kind of hate the heat?
Yeah, well, it's your Norwegian Irish heritage that is just like give me a little bit of fog and like a constant fall temperature. And I'm good. That's all I really need.
You know what? I could use a couple more rainy days thrown in here and there. We haven't really had enough this summer, which I think we could use a couple more. Not too much, but like a nice, rainy day, like you said, like a mist. Maybe like a mist. I'm looking forward to the October mists when it's like spooky season.
Now, most ladies, they like to flourish in the fall, but you, that is your happy place. That is your happy season. You love the fall. If I could somehow put an Irish pub on a fjord and you would just walk out to the fjord outside the Irish pub, that would be the happiest you'd ever, and there'd be Frank Sinatra playing. That would be your happiest place ever.
Look, I would. That sounds amazing. Sign me up. I would need nothing else. Nothing else. Maybe like some pierogies if we could import those.
I need to do this because I did not know this, and we may have mentioned this before.
Yeah.
But okay, so for those that might have never heard you and I on together, like you've been on my show before when we were in the radio business, we were on the radio plenty together, we hosted events and all that stuff. But I didn't know that you have what's called a lithograph of Frank Sinatra. You just before I hit record, you showed me the lithograph. Can we see it? Can you show the fine people?
Let me go get the lithograph. Hang on 1 second.
Okay.
Don't mind my background. I'm organizing.
You're just moving into a new place.
Just moving into a new place. Hang on 1 second.
Okay. All right. So for the people on the podcast, Natalie has a lithograph of Frank Sinatra. A lithograph is many pictures, like stenciled, of Frank Sinatra, or really of any subject, on a piece of paper, and it's framed, and it's amazing. And I didn't know Natalie had this. I heard she had gotten it, but I'd never seen it. And now she's about to show it to the fine people. That's you. And for people on the podcast, you can later go back on YouTube and look at this. Okay. But Natalie is back with us now. Go ahead. Let's see your lithograph of Frank Sinatra.
Okay. So this is a lithograph of Frank Sinatra that was, what is the term, bequeathed?
Somebody left it to you.
Yeah. My Aunt Anna, who actually passed in February of this year, the matriarch of my family, God rest her soul, wonderful, wonderful woman. You want to talk about an OG Philly girl? Let me just tell you, before I tell you, this is what she left to me. And I'll tell you, this is the best part of it. She was like one of the first women to like fly out of Philadelphia, flew to Hawaii, really just like lived life to the fullest, but like was like a through and through Philly girl. So she loved Frank Sinatra back in the day. And when this was left to me, my cousin was telling me that she loved, she would tell everybody how much she loved Frank. Like that was like her go-to thing in the world, except she always would say, except for New York, because like I'm a Philly girl. Like she always went out of her way to tell people that. So she left that to me. And that's so special, right? Because she knows how much I love Frank. Mm-hmm. So when I told you this, and lo and behold, Mark Farzetta, what do you have?
Okay, this is I did not plan to do this for the show today. But this is my lithograph of Frank Sinatra.
Yeah.
All right. And I don't know. We'll let the people vote on whose lithograph they like more.
We can have a lithograph.
This is Natalie. I'm telling you, this is the epitome of our relationship. Like I swear to God. Folks. Now the only thing I like Natalie's more because on the back of hers is a copy of the Declaration of Independence. So that's the only.
Actually, that's true. I have it. Would you like me to go get that? I could show the people that.
I'm going to steal the Declaration of Independence.
Steal the Declaration of Independence. No, actually, we're handing them out on Market Street for free on the 4th of July this year. And I'm like, yeah, of course. Right? Like, I'm like, Nicolas Cage, like he went through all that. I said, you just got to show up in Philly on the 4th of July on Market Street. And I'm not kidding. Betsy Ross and like Ben Franklin personally handed to you. It to you.
Exactly. Just be in a field trip somewhere. You're good to go.
Yeah.
Hey, Natalie, hey, great to see you.
Oh, it's great to see you too. Glad we got all that out of the way.
That was the selfish portion of the show.
Yeah.
Now we're going to do the show for the rest of the people.
Okay.
So I wanted to have you on today. I need your perspective on this. I've told the fine audience how I feel about Deshaun Watson and all that type jazz, and how the NFL said they were going to get out of the investigation business. Then boom, they're back in the investigation business. They get the suspension increased to 11 games and a $5 million fine. Mm-hmm. When you first saw the news come across with Deshaun Watson, when you read it, when you saw it, what came to your mind about this case?
I mean, unfortunately, and I'm going to be very candid here, covering the NFL for as long as I have, being in sports talk radio, particularly, you were on the show the year that I was when we were on the WIP morning show when the Ray Rice situation happened. I was, and remember, so now I'm a young female in sports talk radio, hearing opinions and perspectives and justification for things that go on off the field that kind of get swept under the rug. So, realizing back then that it took a pictures or videos or it doesn't happen mentality. Once they realized that that would be the case, it kind of, I feel like the NFL had to step up a little bit, right? So they implemented all these systems and departments and funds to try and, make up for the fact that they perpetually sweep this stuff under the rug and don't address it. So, lo and behold, here, we're now like 7-8 years past that, and it's still kind of that mentality. So knowing that, like, I don't think the severity of the actions are really being considered. And, everything that we've seen about the case, everything we've read about the case, the court documentation, there's no precedent set. So how do you judge a nonviolent sexual crime and nonviolent and all this stuff? And it's like, it's hard for me right now to kind of come to terms with the fact that they're still like trying to rationalize a lot of this stuff away without actually addressing the issue at hand. So when I saw, the 11-game suspension, the $5 million fine, and then it said end counseling, and I'm thinking, end counseling, like, shouldn't that kind of be, maybe they should lead with that in addressing that, look, if we're going to still pretend to look the other way and try and justify why we look past these things or try and sweep them under the rug so they don't seem as bad, and why we, try and, instead of pretending like they could actually act like they care. Do you know what I mean? And saying like, we're going to address this head on. That's my thoughts on it. And again, it as a young female who has been a diehard fan of the NFL, who's covered teams, this is what needs to happen now. It's kind of, we can think whatever we want about the suspension and about the fine, and we can, debate whether or not that's enough. But it's like, okay, the NFL, it doesn't matter if it's enough. We can argue about that till the cows come home. It's like, are they actually going to address the issue head on and kind of take like a no tolerance stance? And it's like, if they are going to accept players who perhaps exhibit that type of behavior into their league, then they need to feel and be accountable for that, I think.
See, the counseling idea, I wouldn't have thought of, because my mind immediately goes to, just overall punishment.
Right.
The fine, the guy's going to do fine. Look, I don't like counting other people's money no matter what the case, but the guy will be fine after a $5 million. 11-game suspension is definitely something, but the counseling aspect of it, like, do you, like, if you're talking to Deshaun Watson and you're the NFL and you're going, do you not see the huge problem here? Like, you can't ask women to do things that make them uncomfortable. And if you're not noticing you're making them uncomfortable, here's how you do that. Now, don't get me wrong. I still think he went into it fully knowing what he was doing.
Yeah.
But the idea that red flags weren't going off in his own mind saying, oh, this is absolutely wrong. She doesn't want this kind of contact with me. And the way he was recruiting masseuse is like it's insane. Like, you're a professional athlete and you're going on Instagram, you're basically seeing some girl you think is hot and you're going, oh, she's a masseuse too, well, let me get in her DMs and see if I can set up a massage.
It's very, and I said it's very predatory behavior, right? And it's predatory in a way that has like an interesting perversion to it that is uncomfortable for women, I think, in general, because, and as a woman, when you look at these situations, you automatically think, what if I was on the receiving end of that, right? And because a lot of us have been, and especially, women in sports media or women in media or women in any business, you've been more likely than not, if there's anything the last decade has taught us, it's women have been on the receiving end of situations like this more likely than not. So you're always thinking that. And it's just like, you'd want to think that the NFL as an organization would want to hold themselves to a higher standard. But it's also just like disappointing that they don't, because it's like they do, you think that they try and correct it, but then it's like, no, they don't. And like, it's just gross. Like, ugh. Okay, Cleveland.
I was like, I know a lot of people jumped out immediately when they saw the original or what was suggested. They jumped on the NFL, And I said, hold on. I never like to use the word wait and see, the words wait and see. But I knew the NFL was still going to push for more because they originally wanted the full season. Mm-hmm. And the arbiter was like, no, not so fast. Maybe, 5-6 games. And then the NFL got almost double that. Yeah. So I think actually the NFL overall suspension-wise got it right. And as far as Calvin Ridley goes, like, it's not comparable because it's gambling, and that affects the most important thing to the NFL, which is the outcome of a game. So they want to make sure they're protecting that at all costs. Let me ask you about this because it's on a lighter note, not quite Frank Sinatra lithograph light, but the Phillies are giving me good vibes. I'm not feeling so great about this Mets series coming up. The Sixers are giving me good vibes as well. The Flyers, I like John Tortorella, but that's a ways away, it feels like. Yeah. But when it comes to, let's just talk about this Mets series here with the Phillies. Kyle Schwarber should be coming back in this lineup by the time we air this today, Friday morning, or Friday evening. He should be back in the lineup. Bryce Harper should be back. How excited are you? Because it looks like, first off, are you confident this Phillies team will make the playoffs? And how excited are you to talk about October baseball again in South Philly?
Well, what's funny, Mark, is that I feel like every time, and, I came on your show and started ranting and raving about the weather, and every time it's because, it's starting, August is starting to creep in, right? It's late August. We're rounding that corner. And again, September is like my personal New Year. I just love the fall. September 1st, Happy New Year's to everybody who celebrates September New Year.
Yes.
There's a bunch of us, but a lot of the reason is because some of my greatest memories in life are October baseball, September and October Phillies baseball. So it's like you got that like crisp in the air and you're like, you just yearn for it, right? So I feel like at this time of year, any year, I'm always talking myself into why they can do it. However, I do feel like they're taking an interesting turn, and I've been anxious about Bryce. I've been thinking about his hand. I have this I think it's this form of Philadelphia sports fandom trauma where at any given point in the day, you end up thinking about like an athlete's injury. Do you suffer from that?
I do. I do, especially when I see them start to get in the batting cage or at the foul line and shoot around, skate around on the ice, whatever it might be.
I feel like I'll be like in line at Starbucks and I'll just be like minding my own business. And then like, I'll be like, oh, I wonder how Bryce's hand is doing. Right. Like this is like a month ago. And then, so oh my goodness, I'm excited. I can't wait for him to come back. I can't wait to see what they do. And I'm in.
What will you be happy with? It's a 4-game series, doubleheader on Saturday. What will you be happy with, and overall, what are you expecting in this series at home? 4 games against the Mets. Oh boy,
4 games.
They're gonna win 1. They're gonna win 2. They're gonna split.
I think they're gonna split.
All right,
they're gonna split.
Okay.
I think they're gonna split.
All right, I'll take.
Yeah, I think they're gonna split.
I'll take it. All right. I'll take that optimism. Let's go back to football. Well, actually, the Sixers schedule came out. 23 primetime games for the 76ers. That certainly tells me that or nationally televised games, I should say. Nationally televised games. That tells me the league trusts Joel Embiid, Doc Rivers, the entire Sixers organization to put a winner on the court. Not just the Celtics, not just the Bucks, but a winner on the court. What do you feel about the Sixers?
I feel like we do this every year where we're always like, well, if national TV believes in us, but no, because I'm in too. I'm like Christmas Day, Christmas against the Knicks. I'm like, we're going to the championship. No, I'm really, really, really excited about the Sixers. Joel getting hurt is the essence of my soul and what crushes it. So when that happened, and this is why I think I have obtrusive thoughts about player injuries, it's, I knew that we still weren't enough, right? And people are like, well, we added Harden, and it's like, okay, but like essentially it's a new team all over again. So, and making the adjustments and Doc's bench and all the other same issues that we have kind of seen play out in prior seasons with the Sixers. It's a lot of repetitive issues. And I think it's a testament to the fact that, by the end of the season, it is a pieced together team. Think about it. There's moves that are made where we think it's going to be that like last ditch guy or that last ditch effort that's going to really propel them, but it's not. And I think that whatever happens, whether it's, Maxey gets moved, unfortunately, if they get somebody like KD, I mean, it's going to be one of those things where I feel like it'll be enough if it's early enough.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you don't want to go through the remake of the team again.
No, and I feel like because we have a propensity to do that, and whether it's with a Jimmy Butler, or whether it's even with like, my God, like a Dario, you know what I mean? Like,
okay, yeah,
like a kind of piecemealing it together with these guys who like are 1-2 year guys, and I get it, and that's why, but it's like there hasn't been like that time for the team to get into the consistent rhythm. And again, because you're looking at not only just injuries, but Joel Embiid injuries that are affecting the entire game plan, and playoff plan and like life plan, probably for like Doc when he like goes to bed at night. He's like, now what?
Totally.
I'm gonna have to move. Like Joel's face is fractured. He's his elbow, whatever it is. It's just like, how do you keep him healthy and win all the games and find him that person and his facilitator and the guy who's gonna actually step up defensively as well. Mm-hmm. But I'm excited. There is my Gettysburg Address about the Sixers.
Poetry, pure poetry. Hey, in a related story, when was the last time you were at a mall?
Actually, I stopped in Cherry Hill recently.
Did you?
I did.
For what?
I think I was driving by and I wanted to run into H&M. Yeah. Yeah, don't you ever do that?
No. I had to go to, I was telling the story yesterday. I went to Plymouth Meeting Mall.
Maybe because girls do.
But do the ladies still? I just thought you guys do everything on Amazon and online shopping nowadays.
Well, no, I do, but like I like to go in and look for clothes and kind of feel them and try them on. I love shopping. You went shopping with me. We went to the mall together.
That is wow. That is in the Wayback Machine. Yes, we did. What were we? We were just taking,
something for like Wing Bowl. I feel like we were in between gigs and we went to the mall.
No, we killed like 2 hours. We had to host 2 events and we had to kill 2 hours. No, I remember. Oh my God. That we weren't in Franklin, no, whatever it is now, Ben Franklin Mills Mall or whatever the hell it is.
No, we were in Jersey.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
okay.
We were definitely in a Jersey mall, I think.
Wow, Wayback Machine. All right. Well, I know one rant I have to ask you about, the old school hat there. Philadelphia Athletics, no? Yes. Okay. All right.
Yes. So this hat today, actually, and this is why I'm optimistic about the teams. This hat saved me from getting pooped on by a bird today. True story. I went to go get a cup of coffee and I was sitting outside waiting for the coffee and I felt a kerplunk. So I took the hat off and I looked and there was a little bit there. They brought me club soda in a rag, so then it dried off. But
very nice.
But I haven't worn a hat in a while because of the heat.
Right.
And now look.
There you go. Well, I'm glad that hat leaned into one and took one for the team, quite literally.
Yes.
Natalie, always great catching up with you. I'll let you go back to enjoying your Frank Sinatra lithograph and all sorts of fun stuff.
Fun catching up with you, Mark.
Fun catching up with you as always. The great Natalie Egenolf joining us.
Mwah.
Yeah, I just want to make sure I give a proper shout out to my man that gave me this fine lithograph. And if, in case you guys were ever thinking to yourselves, I know Mark is really cool, but how cool is he really? Could he be any cooler? And then I break out the Frank Sinatra lithograph, and you guys are probably like, oh, there he is. Cooler than I thought. I want to give a shout out to my man who gave me this lithograph. Actually, he sold me this lithograph. Yes, I purchased it. And he gave me this as well as like 100 Frank Sinatra records. And he sold all of it to me for $50. And that is my good friend Mike Stusky, the Mike the Cop, as you might know him from WIP fame. Knows that I was a big Frank Sinatra fan. He was clearing out the house, and he sold me some records. And I was like, oh, yeah, I'm in if you got anything else. And he's like, I got a lithograph. I'll throw in a lithograph if you buy these 100 Frank Sinatra records. I was like, you'll throw in a lithograph if I buy all? He's like, yeah, damn right. And for like $50, I think, he sold me all this stuff. And this has been hanging in my studio, from the Steven Singer studio, for quite some time. So I know, drink it in. Drink it in. It doesn't get any cooler than this, folks. And I didn't even know Natalie had a lithograph. I knew she got one from her aunt, recently, her late aunt. May she rest in peace. But I did not know that it was as identical to mine. As close, not identical, as close to mine. I didn't know they made many lithographs. But apparently lithographs were a big deal back in the day. Apparently you weren't a fan of Elvis, Sinatra, obviously, Dean Martin, I don't know, Nancy Sinatra, the Temptations, unless you had a lithograph. That's the epitome. That's the not the epitome. That's the apex of fandom, apparently. Yep. Pick your jaw up off the floor, folks. I'm that cool. Anyway, let me tell you about the amazing people at Manscaped. Manscaped.com, 20% off. That's right. You'll get 20% off and use promo code Farzy at manscaped.com, especially when you look at that Platinum Package 4.0, because, fellas, you want to look good everywhere, right? That's where Manscaped enters the chat. Their Platinum Package 4.0 includes a Lawnmower 4.0 trimmer, a Weed Whacker ear and nose hair trimmer, and it all comes with skin-safe technology that helps you reduce the risk of nicks, so you can manscape with confidence and comfort. Plus, their ultra premium body wash, 2-in-1 shampoo, conditioner, deodorant, crop preserver, anti-chafing ball deodorant, crop reviver, ball spray toner, anti-chafing boxers, and the Shed travel bag that'll help you hold the goods that you'll be using to take care of your goods from Manscaped. Manscaped is the leader in below-the-waist grooming. Now you can trust them with the whole shebang. Join the 4 million men worldwide who trust Manscaped by going to manscaped.com for 20% off and free shipping with promo code Farzy. That's 20% off with promo code Farzy at manscaped.com. How about Freestone Farm CBD? FreestoneFarmCBD.com. You know what? If you're someone who likes to take a more natural approach to everything that they put in their body, you got to go right now to Freestone Farm CBD. FreestoneFarmCBD.com. Their menu is off the charts, like their insane tropical tasting Bayox that clocks in at a chart-topping 24.1%, and Super CBD, which is half Hindu, Kush, and 21%. The genetics are off the charts. They grow all their premium hemp flower in the Garden State, so there's absolutely nothing synthetic from farm to jar, as they have all organic inputs and IPM. And after harvest, they carefully preserve all their plant compounds with a perfect 3-month cure. So check out FreestoneFarmCBD.com. Use promo code Farzy for 20% off your order at FreestoneFarmCBD.com. How about Blue Chew? Fellas, if you got that problem in the old boudoir, Blue Chew is for you. Blue Chew is a unique online service that delivers the same active ingredients as Viagra and Cialis, but in chewable form at a fraction of the cost. Blue Chew's tablets help men combat all forms of ED. And again, Blue Chew is an online prescription service, so there's no embarrassing trips to the doctor or pharmacy, as Blue Chew ships right to your door in a discreet package. Here's Blue Chew's process. You sign up at BlueChew.com, consult with one of their licensed medical providers, and once you're approved, you'll receive your prescription within days, and it's all done online. Don't like swallowing pills? No problem here. Blue Chew's tablets are chewable, so it's not just a clever name. Blue Chew's tablets are also made right here in the good old US of A. Yeah, American made. They prepare and ship directly to your house, so it's cheaper than a pharmacy. And once again, here's a special deal for our listeners and our viewers. Try Blue Chew free when you use promo code Farzy. That's promo code Farzy at checkout, and just pay $5 shipping. There's $5 shipping, and you get your first month of Blue Chew free. That's BlueChew.com, promo code Farzy, to receive your first month free. How about PHL Sports Nation, Philadelphia Sports Nation, enhancing your Philadelphia sports fan experience across all social media and blogs? That's PHLSportsNation.com. Let's jump on into the chat check and see how you beautiful people are doing today. I see the beep bop bop beep boop boop bop. I see the bots have taken over. Nice to see you, bots. Good morning to you. Dan Schwartz, good morning. Mets suck. Let's hope the Mets suck throughout this entire 4-game series. Kevin, what's going on? April, how are you? Mullet, what's going on? Sean, how are you? Dan Schwartz, rumors of a Bryce Harper appearance in this series from a person that many here dislike, Howard Eskin. Did Howard say? I saw Howard's dog died. I am legit sorry about that. That sucks. That's oof. I think I told you guys before about me going through having to put my wife's cat down. Oh, that's terrible. And that has opened my eyes to anyone because I never had a pet growing up. So anyone that had to do that or a pet that died, oh my God, my heart goes out to you. I'm not even kidding you. Like that. Oh my God, that's terrible. And I saw Howard's dog has passed, and I feel bad for Howard and the rest of the Eskin family. That's terrible. But I did not see Howard Eskin tweet anything about Bryce Harper. I don't think you're going to see Bryce Harper. I think you might see him at last 2 days of August. Well, I wouldn't be shocked if he came back by September 1st on the dot. But I don't think you're going to see him until the last couple of days of August. If Howard put that out, I miss Goosey. I missed that. Let's see here. PJ chiming in from the Farzy Show chat. As awesome as that would be so irresponsible to just jump back in versus the pitching staff like the New York Mets. Yeah, no bueno. No bueno. Excited for Harper to come back, but sometimes baseball is weird. I could see them slumping. I'm probably just programmed to be paranoid. Dan, I think we all are. When it comes to the Phillies and September knocking on the door, we just wait for that collapse. I know a lot of people look at the Mets and they go, oh, the Mets are going to Met. The Mets are going to go in the tank. The Mets are going to be terrible. I just don't see it happening. Hey, maybe it does, and it starts with this series with the Phillies. I just don't see it happening. I don't see it happening. I see the Phillies splitting this series, and I see the Mets going on to win the division. And I see the Braves and the Phillies making the playoffs as well. 3 playoff teams in this division. 3 playoff teams in this division. That's the way it's going to go down. That's how I believe it's going to go down. 302 Birds. Do you still want me to hop on? I think, Dalton. That's Dalton. I emailed you back. I had said I was going to go on your show. I'll have you on this. So Dalton, great guy, follows the show. Dalton, hello. In case you did go back to bed, you'll listen to the podcast later. I appreciate you, brother. I said I was going to come on your show. Let me know when I can come on your show. He asked me to come on, and I'm happy to come on. I'm happy to be a guest anywhere. Dalton, I'll have you on this show down the line, like during the Eagles season, man. I apologize if there was confusion there, but thank you. Sean Gillespie, please don't. Oh, wait, please blitz Daniel Jones. Tom Brady runs better than him. Sean, it's not. I don't disagree with that. 302, you're the man. April says the Phillies will split this series with the Mets. Let's keep our fingers crossed that happens. Wow, Dan, you really called it. I did get back to Dalton during the Natalie interview. I emailed him back. And I was like, no, I'll come on your show. Then we'll have you on my show. That's how that works. But yeah, 302 Birds. That's what that is right there. April, the NFL has never cared about the players personally. Getting them help isn't the highest priority. They are more concerned with putting it under the rug and continuing to make money off of them. April, absolutely. I hate the cliche, it's a business, but it is. The NFL is a business, and they're in the football business. If they think somebody has talent to play football, heaven and earth will be moved in order to get that person in the league, because that person will help your eyes stay on that product. They don't care about the player in terms of their development overall as a human. They care about the player's overall development as far as a talented football player goes, and whether or not they reach that potential. That shouldn't be a shock to anybody. That's why when the off the field stuff happens in football, the NFL usually doesn't know what the hell to do with it. But if it comes to gambling, that's something that directly affects or could directly affect the integrity of the sport and the final score, which is ultimately most important. And that's the business that they're in. So it's no surprise. No surprise. Oh, here's the bots. The bots are coming in. Nice to see you, bots. Bots are trying to put people together. They're romantic. Sean, I agree. April. Oh, snap. The bots are Sinatra fans too. Hey, bots. Hey, 6'9" mega. Let's see your lithograph. That might mean something it's not supposed to mean. Miss Kuzi. Boop. Blue Chew can also help you put more natural things. April, line of the freaking millennium right there. Blue Chew can also help you put more natural things in your body. Well played. Well played. Boop. Oh, this is great. Steve, how are you? Welcome to the chat, Steve. I don't think I've seen you in the chat before. Nice to have you. Appreciate you guys. Is that it? That's our chat check, everyone. Appreciate you. Let's jump into our morning rush brought to you by Sky Motorcars, skymotorcars.com. Eagles will continue practice today against the Cleveland Browns. By all accounts, the Eagles won practice yesterday, so 1-0 in the joint practices. Way to be, fellas. Jalen Hurts, see if he has another continued progressive day there at practice as he did yesterday. I think Nick Sirianni addresses the media today, so we'll hear from Nick Sirianni. And then I still don't expect starters to play on Sunday for the odd 1 o'clock kickoff in Cleveland. So we'll see how it goes for the Eagles in this second preseason game. Phillies get things underway with the New York Metropolitans today, 7:05 start time in South Philadelphia. See how the Phillies shake out as game one of this series. Aaron Nola will be on the hill for the Phils in South Philadelphia as they begin this 4-game series. It did happen yesterday. Brandon Marsh did hit the IL, so they won't have the regular center fielder going forward. Looks like Matt Vierling will take over those responsibilities yet again on a more regular basis. Chris Bassett gets the start for the Mets. Aaron Nola gets the start for the Phillies. Bassett 10-7 on the year with a 3.27 ERA. Aaron Nola 3.07 ERA. And he is 8-9. He'll look to improve to at least a 509-9 record after today. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. It's the Farzy Show, presented by Steven Singer. Steven Singer Jewelers. I'm Mark Farzetta. Jim Hyden produced the program. This is a Buzz Sports and Entertainment production. Have a great weekend, everybody. Let's go, Phils.